Leaders Aware everywhere. It's the Leaders Aware podcast. I'm your host, Alfonzo Jones, and I'm just so grateful that you're here with me today, that you're investing this time in yourself, in your life, your leadership, your legacy. We are creating a movement, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a movement. You are literally helping a movement be created, be started with your presence here. So make sure that you share this. Tell somebody about the Leaders Aware podcast, because we want this thing to spread like wildfire. Why? Because we need more leaders just like you who are becoming increasingly more aware of who they are. And that's going to change not only how they lead, but it's going to change everyone around them. So please do that. Like, share, comment, tell somebody about it. Someone who needs to know, let them know. So leading into what we're going to talk about today is actually a bit of a reveal. It's something that I've been thinking about, a concept that I've been toying with for a little while now, a couple of months. It's the underlying thread of the Leaders Aware podcast, but it just hasn't been really represented and presented as much as I would like to. And I want to put a word to it. I want to give it a name. I want to make it known. All right. So most of you already know my story as it relates to leadership, me being who I am, the DISC assessment. You know, I was one of those people who I was in an environment where my personality didn't necessarily fit the normal mold. Okay. I was a leader, but I was an emotional leader. I don't know if that's the right term for it, but I cared about my people. I cared about the people that I led, not just on a vocational level, but on an internal level. Like, what are you feeling? I was very keen on emotions and understanding people. And that in the leadership realm wasn't really didn't get far that way. Okay. So I went on a path of trying to change who I was in order to meet the standard. And that didn't work, because that's not what we're supposed to do. So I came in contact with the DISC assessment, which is a personality assessment. I took that, realized some of my strengths of who I am, what I'm geared towards, and that, you know what, I am a people person. I am someone who is in tune to the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings of people. And because of that, it makes me good at what I do. Once I found this out, I kind of made a shift of understanding who I was and operating in my lane. Nipsey Hussle had a quote that says, "Stay in your lane because there's no traffic in your lane." So how many of us are in someone else's lane? We're in a crowded lane, a lane that shouldn't be crowded if it was the one that you were specifically supposed to be in, because there's no traffic in your lane. All right, so back to the story. I got in my lane, started doing the things that I should do. And this is kind of how my coaching, my counseling, even Trifecta Prime was started. It started off that premise that, hey, you know what? There are a lot of people who are probably trying to fit some type of mold that they were never meant to feel. And so with all that being said, let me give you the word. Let me give you the concept that we're going to be using. It's called identity alignment. Identity alignment. So Trifecta Prime, the Leaders Aware podcast, is all working towards leaders and individuals being properly aligned so that they can lead with clarity, with confidence, with purpose. So I often think about the ugly duckling. And this story just keeps on playing back in my mind again and again and again. Why? Because the ugly duckling was a character who was in the wrong environment. And because they were in the wrong environment, they were never really aligned. The ugly duckling was never really aligned to who he really was until, in fact, he was connected with the swans. To be honest, The story really never should have been called The Ugly Duckling, because the ugly duckling is not a duck. He was a swan the whole time. So it should have been called something like, I would say, Swan Tales, or The Tale of One Swan, something like that. Because at the end of the day, he was never a duck. He was never ugly. And I actually had to go back and listen to the story of the ugly duckling just to make sure that I had it right, because I wanted to make sure that I can apply this concept. And this is going to be what we use as one of the foundational components of this. Is going to be an intensive. There's going to be a course around this identity alignment, because it's so important. So back to the ugly duckling, and this is how it applies to you. You see, the ugly duckling was in an environment that didn't realize who he was. And because he was in that environment, he adopted that identity, not understanding the whole time that he was never what they called him. So with that being said, there was moments where the swan, I'm going to call him the ugly duckling. Why? Because that's how you know him. So there were moments where the ugly duckling, he was with the cat and the hen, and they had him in a house. He was looking out the window at a pond, and he was wishing that he could be in the pond. So that was a pure, innate desire. Why? Because that's who he really was. The swans swim. They don't sit in houses. But because of his environment, he was trying to hold back his innate desires and his abilities and how he was really molded. So we can be caught in environments where we are trying to shift, kind of move into a place where we fit the mold. Here's the thing, leaders aware. You are not supposed to fit a mold that's not meant for you. Okay? So there is a mold that's meant for you, but you're not meant to fit any other mold. You got to break those molds. Okay? So you having a unique talent, you have a unique ability, you have a unique personality. We are all different. There's only one you. All right? But you may say, hold up, there's somebody that looks like me. Okay, fair. There's somebody that has my exact same name. Fair. That's fair. But this is one thing I bet you they don't have. Show them your fingerprint. Bet you they don't have the same fingerprint. You can't have the same fingerprint. They're all different. There is only one you. My favorite Dr. Seuss quote: today you are you, that is truer than true. There is no one alive that is youer than you. So you must be you. You have got to be aligned with who you are. When you are aligned with who you are, that's when you will thrive. That's when you will flourish. That's when you will meet with your purpose. So for me, and this is, to be honest, the reason why I decided to do this today is because to the point, today's topic was supposed to be the dichotomy of control, the serenity prayer. And I was getting out my papers, my notes for my episode. And I was thinking, okay, how can I do this in a way where I'm not looking at my notes, where I'm not looking down at the paper, or I'm not looking at a screen? And then it hit me, but that's what I want to do. That's how I want to carry it out. Now, granted, there's some episodes where I'm not going to need notes. It's going to be like a natural conversation. This is like a natural conversation. This is a literal natural conversation I'm having with you because this thing popped up. But with the episode about the dichotomy of control, I wanted and needed notes. And that's okay. But because I've been seeing, I'm just going to be very honest with you. This is what we do at Leaders Aware. because I've been seeing these apps now where you can actually control your eye movement, where it looks like you're looking at the screen the whole time. And I get it. I'm not saying it's not necessary. I'm not saying you shouldn't use that. That's cool. However, for what I'm doing, my notes are okay, right? It is what it is. So as I was battling with myself about that, it hit me that, you know what? I need to make my leaders aware, because there's some things that you feel like are outside of the mold. It may be outside of the norm. It may not be what everyone else is doing, but you feel like you should do it. Do it. Do it just the way you want to do it. Let me give you an example. I think they're called the Savannah Bananas. It's a baseball team, and they are totally wild and crazy. It's probably the craziest concept that I've ever heard as it relates to sports. But this thing is, look them up. Look up the Savannah Bananas. They dance in between innings. They dance during the innings. They have like different random things that they do within the game. And it's totally crazy. But guess what? They've created their own lane. And if there's anything, anyone, any particular thing that I can point to that as it relates to creating your own lane. But I said all that to say that sometimes when you do what you do, it's not always going to be comfortable. However, if it meets with the alignment, then you should do it. You should do it. So all that to say, when you see the episode on the dichotomy of control and serenity prayer, you're going to see me checking out my notes. Why? Because I feel like it's important. So as you're battling in your mind about the things that, this is not the norm, nobody else is doing this, do a check-in. Check in with yourself and saying, why is that so important? Is the concept that I'm thinking about, does it align with who I am? I hit my mic there. Does it align with who I am? Because let me tell you, there is a certain struggle, a struggle that drains us, that we have when we're doing things that are outside of our alignment. But also, there's a struggle that empowers us, that happens when we are in alignment. Okay, so there's a struggle in doing the podcast the way I wanted to do it. It was a struggle, honestly. I almost didn't do it. I didn't want to do it. I was scared to do it, and it was a struggle. But can I tell you, at this moment, at this time, that struggle actually empowered me. It actually boosted me. Once I said, okay, I got to get over this fear, I got to do it anyway, it empowered me, as opposed to the struggle of me back in my early leadership, trying to fit into a mold of being hard and harsh and super direct without identifying the emotional element of things. That was a struggle that was draining. It is absolutely and was absolutely draining. So you have to check in on yourself. Are you aligned? Is your environment one that causes you to step out of who you are in order to meet some metric? You have to identify these things. You see, the ugly duckling was born amongst ducks. So his environment didn't even truly appreciate who and what he was. So if he was born amongst swans, do you think he would have ever even heard the term ugly duckling? And if the ducklings would have understood that he was a swan, would they have given him that label? So here's the question for you. Are there labels that you are taking on that were given to you by people who don't even know who you are? They're only labeling you through their limited scope of understanding. You see, the ducklings in that fold of ducks in which the swan was born didn't know what a swan looked like at its infancy stage. So all they had to go off of is, you are one of us, you don't look like us, but you were born with us, so this is who you are. To the point that as the ugly duckling progressed through life, there was a point where he said, I wish I wasn't so ugly. So what is it for you? I wish I wasn't so fill in the blank. And is that thing something that someone else put on you, to the point where now you believe that it's true? Leaders aware, we are becoming aligned. Identity alignment. Identity alignment. When we are aligned, that's where we meet purpose. That's where we can lead with confidence and clarity. But it's only in that moment where you are able to identify the fact and acknowledge the fact, you know what? This is not really who I really am. Now, granted, this is going to go into there's going to be many different veins and avenues that we'll go down as it relates to identity alignment. But I just wanted to throw that out there. I wanted to make it known what's happening, what's going on, what's my thought process. So when you see it, you're going to understand it. Because ultimately, this is the thing. This is the thing, leaders, where, okay, Alfonzo Jones. Matter of fact, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Alfonzo D. Jones II, and I reintroduce people to themselves. That's my mission. That's my mission. That is my new mission. I reintroduce people to themselves, because so many people have lost themselves trying to follow paths and dreams that someone else has set. So everything I do from here until the day that I die will be helping reintroduce people to themselves. And it may not be fully, but there may just be components of yourself that you did not realize existed, or that you forgot existed. That's why I'm here. That's why Trifecta Prime is in place. Leaders Aware is another avenue to help that happen. But I just needed you to know there's going to be a moment, there's going to be a time, there are going to be materials that I will present to you that allow you to work with me. Okay. And even if you are interested in it, let me know. DM me, private message, email. You can go to the trifectaprime.com and submit a request there. But that is my mission. That is my mission. That is my passion. Because when you understand anything is possible. Anything is possible. And I am excited for you. I'm excited for us. I'm excited for the movement. So, like I said, identity alignment is the thing. Identity alignment. My mission. Your awareness. Our movement. This is what is going to change things and people and families and organizations. Because when you realize who you are, you can be confident in who you're not. See, never again will I play small, or will I be upset about me not being like someone else, because I was created and made to be Alfonzo D. Jones II. And I often say in some of my videos that, work on you, right? Work on you. Why? Because you are God's greatest creation. And the concept of that is to understand, for people to understand that when he made you, when you were created, the mold was broken. That's why I was talking to you about the whole fingerprint thing earlier. There's not another one. You were created, mold was broken. So you have a unique personality. Although some things may look alike, they are not all the same. All right. As we go down this journey, and I need to say this, as we go down this journey and travel down this path, you will see things that are similar. You'll see people that, oh, that's what I want to do. So in order for me to do that, I have to do exactly what this person does and did to get there. And although that is in part true, it's not totally true. Okay? There may be a point where everything lines up, but you have to be cognizant of the fact that they may not always line up. Everything's not going to line up all the way to the goal. Why? Because you are you, right? There are things that you've encountered. There's things about your personality, about your past, that may not align with who this individual that you're following. They may not align with what they've been through. There was also a video that I did years ago where I talked about voices and how I always listen to motivational videos in the morning, just kind of get me pumped up, keep my mind in the right direction, because I like to be in a positive mindset. And there was there was two, I think it was Gary V and Eric Thomas. I think those are the two that I was listening to. And Gary V is very much so like boom, 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 go, 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 no sleep. Eric Thomas at the time was talking about getting rest. So I had two voices that I was listening to, but the voices that I was listening to didn't align. So it put me in a position where I had to figure out which one did I listen to and which one aligned with who I am and where I'm going, right? And to be honest, it was a little bit of both. So I'm not a total 100% grind hustle guy, but nor am I got to get my 8 hours type guy. And my wife will tell you that. So I met somewhere in the middle, but I had to realize that. And if I didn't realize that, I was going to get into that point where, okay, this is becoming a strain. This has become a drain, right? Because, okay, I got to hustle. I cannot sleep. That's good for Gary V. Like, that is his makeup. That's what he's supposed to do. And there are people that align with that. But Eric Thomas, on the other hand, he's saying get some sleep. Get some sleep. You need to get some sleep in order to function the way you need to function. And that's good for him. But there's a lot of different variables that we have to consider and think about when we are listening to people, especially when you're listening to so much that the messages diverge, they go different ways, and you have to figure out which one you're going to listen to. But it's about being aware. It's also being aligned. Being aware, being aligned, understanding who you are so you know who you're not. I'm excited. I'm excited about where this is going, where this is going to go, and the people that are going to be on the journey with me, the movement that is happening even now. Again, so if you have any desire to be in on the launch whenever there's going to be an identity alignment intensive. The whole method is going to be laid out. We're going to have some workshops, things of that nature for you. Let me know. Let me know. I'm challenging you. I'm challenging you. Reach out, okay? Take action. Even now, take action. Alfonzo Jones II on TikTok. I got Instagram, Alfonzo Jones 2. Trifectaprime.com is the website. You can go there. Multiple avenues. Reach out. Just type in the word aligned, and I'll know exactly what you mean, what you want. And I will keep you posted on everything that's coming up as it relates to the identity alignment method and the intensive that will be coming out. But leaders aware. We are now aware of the identity alignment method. And when we become aware, we make those adjustments and we do better. And we're going to take that inventory, check in with ourselves, make sure that we are truly aligned with our purpose. Listen, I'm so proud of you. I'm honored and humbled that you're on this journey with me. I love you guys. And guess what? I'll see you next time.